Hi guys, welcome to Collectors Entertainment Network. This show is CEN Weekly and I am your host, Anthony. What this show is about is just what's going on this week on the channel or anything that's going on in the world of pop culture, entertainment, or collecting. This week, I want to talk about this new channel. It's hard to believe, but I'd say this channel is probably about 10 years in the making. About 10 years or so ago, my then girlfriend, now wife, bought me a camcorder and I was going to make videos. And I made a couple videos of my Blu-ray collection and stuff like that. But I just never got them going. I have my own YouTube channel, which is more my personal channel, which I've had for, 14 years or whenever it was. I discovered YouTube in 2007 or 2008 or something like that, or 2006 maybe. Maybe 15 years. But I always wanted to put a channel together with videos of my collection. At first it was going to be more my movie collection, which is what I was collecting very, very rapidly at the time. But I've got so many other collections. I've got all sorts of Star Wars collections, as you can see, Star Wars fan. But I've got other things, which is sort of a little vignette of what is in store for this channel. I got some toys there. I got some toys there. We'll talk about all collecting of toys that I have, action figures. That's going to be one show. I've got home videos. I've got DVDs. There's a Laserdisc in the back. All sorts of stuff like that. So a little bit about myself. My name is Anthony. I was born and raised in New York on Long Island. I'm 44 years old. So that I was born in the mid to late 70s, so I really grew up and came of age in the 80s, and then of course I was a teenager in the 90s. So most of the stuff I am collecting is, just trying to recapture my childhood from the 80s, but there may be some stuff from the 90s as well. I'm married, and I have 3 little kids. I have an 8-year-old, and I have 2 6-year-olds. I try and get them to enjoy all the things that I enjoyed as a kid. A lot of the times they do. Sometimes they don't want to hear about it. But I keep trying anyway. Like I said, I was born and raised in New York, but I currently live in South New Jersey. South Jersey. This is where my wife is from. So I went from the complete suburbs to not quite the country, but it's a lot more country than I grew up in. But that's where I'm here, and that's where we're raising our kids. And it's pretty cool down here. Speaking of kids, I just wanted to touch on this briefly. This channel will be basically directed towards adults, people around my age, a little younger, a little older, but people who grew up in the 80s or in the 90s and have similar collections like mine. So this is directed towards adults. This channel is not directed towards children. Having said that, I want it to be known that there will never be anything on this channel that cannot be viewed by the entire family. I find it very important that kids can watch the show. Although it won't be directed towards them, it's clearly directed towards people about my age, adults in their 30s and 40s. But I want you to know that you can sit down and watch this channel with your kids, and there will never be anything on it that will be inappropriate. Okay, so let's get into what the shows will be about. Now, all this is subject to change in the future, but this is what I'm starting with right now. Sundays will be CEN Weekly, this show right here, which we'll be talking about what's coming up this week on the channel, plus anything else that may be coming up that I want to touch base on. Mondays will be That Figures. That's a show about action figures and any of the accessories that go along with action figures, play sets, and that sort of thing. Toys in general, focusing mostly on action figures. That Figures, Mondays. On Tuesdays, we're going to see DVD Deep Dive, a show that gets into the releases of DVDs and sometimes Blu-rays and goes through not so much the movie or the television show itself, but looks at the release, the packaging, the special features, when it was released, stuff like that. So that's DVD Deep Dive on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, we're going to keep Wednesdays open right now because at the very end of December on Wednesday is the premiere of the Book of Boba Fett. And going forward, we're going to do review shows on the Book of Boba Fett on Wednesdays. From now until then, if there's anything I want to talk about that doesn't fall into CEN Weekly or, of course, any other show, maybe I'll drop a video on Wednesday. But for right now, we're going to keep that open so that we have a space for the Book of Boba Fett reviews. And on Thursday, we're going to have From the Pages of WWF Magazine. This is a show where I go back starting with the first issue, which is actually called WWF Victory Magazine, and we literally just go page by page, go through it, talk about what was going on in the World Wrestling Federation at that time, plus what is also in the magazine itself. A little commentary here or there, but mostly just going through and looking at the magazine. Fridays as well, we're going to keep open right now, but I have so many show ideas that eventually we will have a show on Friday. The other thing is, I know the Book of Boba Fett is going to be on Wednesdays, but The Mandalorian used to be on Fridays. So whenever that comes back, or any other Star Wars shows, because as you can see, I'm a Star Wars fan, so I'm going to do a review of those shows. Friday may be needed for a review show of whatever Disney Plus puts on Fridays. If not, I can always fill it in with some other shows because I have so many other show ideas. And speaking of Star Wars, that brings us to Saturday night. And that is Star Wars Saturday Night. At first, we're going to take a look at pieces of my collection. And of course, this is a collection and entertainment channel, Collectors Entertainment Network, if you will. So we're going to take a look at my collection. But eventually, I would really like to get a good Star Wars community going on here, and we can discuss other topics, and we can do maybe live streams, or we can do movie reviews. We could take deep dives into the making of books. We could do a lot of stuff on Star Wars Saturday Night. Like I said, the next few weeks will be parts of my collection, but we can definitely expand that show. A lot of my collection currently is in our unfinished basement in boxes. So I'm a little bit limited on what I can discuss. And it's not just my Star Wars collection. I have a lot of things down there that I could go and get and take them out of the box and bring them up here to the CEN studios, which really is just a corner of our guest bedroom, where my computer and I've set this little set up. So this is currently CEN Studios. Again, it's just a corner of our guest bedroom. So I could go and get stuff, but it would be a little bit more difficult. Eventually, like I said, it was an unfinished basement. It has so much potential. There's already a bathroom down there. Maybe I'll be taking you on the journey of finishing that basement, putting in our home theater and my collection room, and have a proper studio set up down there. That is the dream. That's what I hope to eventually accomplish with this channel. But right now, we're in this little studio. And speaking of the CEN studio, let's talk about the studios of some of my favorite YouTubers. When it comes to WWF LJNs and basically anything the 1980s, definitely go check out the New 80s Revolution. One of my favorite channels. Next is my go-to for Star Wars home video, and that is Nathan P. Butler. He literally wrote the book on Star Wars home video. In fact, here it is. A Fan's Guide to U.S. Star Wars Home Video Releases. Saga on Home Video. This right here is the first edition. He has a second edition, which apparently is 3 volumes, full color pages, that should be out later this year. So definitely take a look at that and take a look at his channel. A few other people that I love on YouTube. I love a lot of the old original Collider cast, like Mark Riley and Ken Knapsack. And of course I here have Ken Knapsack's Why We Love Star Wars. And of course I like the big guys like John Campea and stuff like that, but more so than John Campea, I love Robert Meyer Burnett, writer-director of Free Enterprise, a great movie. And these guys are always here. The Free Enterprise, the Ken Knapsack book, the Saga on Home Video, because those are all releases by actual YouTubers that I keep in the background as sort of a tribute to them. Now let's talk quickly about what I want to accomplish with this channel. I just want to have this as a channel where people come, have a good time, have a lot of communication between each other, trade some ideas, trade some stories, and really have a sense of community about the topics at hand. Some people might love WWF, and I've got From the Pages of WWF Magazine, and I've got the first couple of issues of that Figures, which is going to deal with the WWF LJN Wrestling Superstars. Going forward, it'll be about all different kinds of action figures and such. But right off the top, we're going to start with that. Obviously, like I said, I love Star Wars. And then we have Star Wars Saturday Night. I really want to have a community there. Another thing I love to talk about is home video formats. All kinds. As you can see, I've got a Laserdisc right here for Back to the Future, a movie I absolutely love that I saw in theaters twice back in 1985. You've got a beta tape. You've got a VHS in a clamshell. And you've got a Video 8. I don't really have many of these. I probably got like 4 or 5 of them. But I've got a ton of beta, obviously a ton of VHS, and a good, healthy amount of Laserdiscs. So that will be a show that will eventually be on the channel. I think I'm going to call it Retro Media Release. It's going to be similar to DVD Deep Dive, but it's going to be about retro media. Pretty much any home video or maybe even audio format that preceded DVD. Even though DVD is about 25 years old at this time, can you believe it? They still sell it in the stores. You can still walk into a Walmart or a Target and buy a DVD. So it is still technically a current format. Another one of my loves is the rock band Kiss. I don't know how much I'm going to do with them on the channel, but one plan I do have is This Day in History. I'm going to try and pre-record a whole bunch of shows about each one of their albums and actually release it on the anniversary of its release. So starting next year in 2022, as the days of their albums get released, I should be dropping a video on a review of that album. And as we keep going with this channel, anything you guys like or want to see, please let me know. Maybe I can make a show about that. A topic that I didn't think about, but that works perfectly within the sort of parameters of this channel. And going forward, I'd love to hear from you about what you might like to see on this channel. If there's a certain Star Wars topic you want to be discussed on Star Wars Saturday Night, there we go. If there is a sort of offshoot of WWF Magazine, like WWF Programs, some of the pay-per-view programs, the old WWF Spotlight magazines, a lot of them I have. I've got almost every magazine that was produced in the 80s from WWF. Not all the programs, but anything that was on newsstands in the 80s and early 90s, I've got it. We can do offshoots on that. Action figures, if I've got them, we could talk about them. Again, a lot of mine are in the basement in tubs, cardboard boxes, waiting to be released and set free in a brand new collection room when that dream comes true. And anything else that you may want to discuss. Here in this video, in the comments below, leave any questions you have for me or for the channel. This is a young channel. This is a new channel, so we're still finding our way. But ask me any questions, and I'll be sure I will really try to comment back. Speaking of comments, we're going to keep this classy, guys. We are not going to have any sort of problems in the comment section. I want this community to grow and grow and grow, but that does not mean I will let people be rude or abusive or anything like that. If you're not acting like a nice human being, I'm going to show you the door. Two more of my favorite YouTubers that I wanted to mention are Dave from Cinema Sickness and Crazy Joe. Dave I've actually met. I've actually been in a few of his videos. Me and my daughter were actually in a few of Cinema Sickness's videos. He's a great guy. I've watched his channel for years, and he actually doesn't live all that far from me. He lives over in the Philadelphia area, and I am in South Jersey. Crazy Joe, I've never had the chance, from Megapodtastic. I've never had the chance to actually meet, but I have communicated with him from time to time. And both those guys, although I don't see that often, or I've never met Joe, but I have met Dave, I consider them friends, and definitely more than just people I watch on YouTube. I could reach out to them at any time. So I hope that they see this and know how much their channels have inspired me to do this myself. One other thing you're going to see on this channel, especially at this time of year coming up, is I love the holidays. I love Christmas time, and I love Thanksgiving, mostly because I know the next day is the start of Christmas time, but I also love Thanksgiving as well. So we're definitely going to do some pre-holiday event type shows. I'm definitely looking to have a very special show the night before Thanksgiving, and maybe not the night before Christmas Eve, or even that, but at least the days right before. I just love this time of year. November, December, it's the best. Okay, well, I guess it's time to tell you what's coming up this week on Collectors Entertainment Network. On Monday is the premiere episode of That Figures, where we're going to be looking at Series 1 of the WWF LJN Wrestling Superstars. On Tuesday is DVD Deep Dive. We're going to take a look at the first few seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the DVD releases, and what amazing releases they were. The original releases, not a few years later. The ones that got released as they came out. On Thursday is From the Pages of WWF Magazine, where we're going to take a look at the very first issue of WWF Victory Magazine, the one with Jimmy Snuka on the cover. We're going to go page by page and delve into that one. And on Saturday is Star Wars Saturday Night, where this week we're going to take a look at this, The Return of the Jedi. Take a tape along. It's got the storybooks with the cassette tapes. It's going to be a great episode. I can't wait for you guys to see that. So that just about wraps things up for this, the premiere episode of CEN Weekly, which is the premiere episode of any show on Collectors Entertainment Network. I'm glad you guys came by. Please comment, please subscribe, please like it, please share it, and most importantly, please come back and watch some more videos. All right, until next time, have a good one.